Hi, Nick Collier here, and this is my shop. Come join me. We'll have some fun. Okay, next step in this mess is to drill holes in the little tabs, and we're going to start with 1/4 and then go up to 3/8. And I've centered myself. Oh, in fact, actually, I want to strike center. So we're going to drag this over back to center. And I found center by wiggling the corner, the two surfaces, and coming into center. Now, what I want to do is just strike a nice permanent line on center and then come out 250 and do the same thing. And then I know where my 250, where my cut lines are. Okay, that should do it for that. Put our drill bit back in and come out 2 1/4 inches. Two and 1/4, and then bring this back to 0. And let's go. It just looks way too close. Just visually it looks too close. Let's put a little mark there just to know where it's at. Take it on over to the other side. See what we got. $250. Yeah, look at that. Yeah. Okay, so we've got our pieces done. We've got our holes drilled, and I came in and I marked. I set up the center, and then I went 250 thousandths off of that because that's what it's calling for. And then we came across the top and did a little score line across the top. So now what I'm going to do is come in and saw fairly close to that score line, and then later on when we put it back in the mill, that I'll square up to that score line and it'll all be good. Okay, off and running. That's going to be too slow. I'm going to put it in the big press or the big saw and go ahead and saw that line. All right, so we put it in the big saw. We've got a couple of clamps on the far side of the blade, which means that this piece will just pop right off, hopefully. Well, we're going to need a saddle for this to ride on this way and be able to hold it in the vise so that these are parallel or level with the rest of this piece. And so And I'm just taking a piece of mild steel and I'm cutting a U slot in there, or some kind of slot. Well, as usual, you think it's going to go one way, and it doesn't, of course. So we ended up cutting it all the way down to almost nothing because I couldn't get far enough down in the vise to grab this. But at this point, it works pretty good. We've got just about what we need. Now we'll drop it down on the vise. Push down in the center, tighten it up, and just come in and shave off that top edge until we get down to the line. Okay, well, you can see this web right here is pretty flimsy, and that bracket came up to about right there, which means that this part just wiggled all over the place and I could barely cut it. So I came in and put some stiffeners in to stiffen up this edge, and now it cuts like a dream. So we got about 4 more to go, and we're on to the next step. Let's take it to the next step, and the next step is drilling the holes in the clamp part of the bracket. So first thing I have to do is come in and clean up all of these edges, because once I clamp it in there, it's going to have to be fairly consistent. So we'll just hit them with a file. All right. Now we've kind of cleaned it off in there. So we drop this in, slide it over, square it up with the edge. Pretty good. Make sure we're all the way down. We are. And I'm already set at 1/750 from the center out. So I've measured from the center out and then from the center out. And that just makes it easier. Come in with a W bit and take it out to 377. And this has a 3/1000 tolerance, so no, it actually has a 20/1000 tolerance. Well, hell, that's going to give us plenty of room. Maybe it's 5/1000. 3, 2 is 3/1000. Okay. So we take it on over to 1750. And do it again. Take it out, put the next one in. I've got one more to do, and we'll be back. Well, Jason's over the other part of the shop making a shitload of noise, working on another project. I'm going to walk you through this and do a little voiceover. So, yeah, as you can see, I'm making a pivot so that I can go up against the sander, the belt sander, and sand away the to get a radius in that part. And you can see I built that pin so that it fits fairly tight, and I cut the corner off of this piece of steel, and I should be able to just drill a hole in the top of it and have it work. But I decided to go another way because it didn't look like that little piece of 1/4 inch plate was going to be strong enough. So I took a piece of about 3.5 inch round, and I'm coming in and squaring it up, and as you can see, and we're just getting it to so that it fits what I want to do, and you can kind of see where I'm going with that. I'm making a little tower, but it turns out that that piece of square stock isn't going to work. So we chucked the square stock, and we came in with some round stock, and we're going to cut it at a 45. Actually, it might even be more like a 60. Anyhow, we're going to cut it and off center, as you can see. So that's going to create the relief for, and you'll see that what I'm doing in a minute here. Okay, now we're at about at 60 degrees. Yeah, bringing it down. That should work. Yeah. So now we're going to put a drill bit in it. Oh, wait a second. I guess we're doing it a second time. Maybe it wasn't far enough off center. Yeah, if I remember correctly, it wasn't far enough off center. So now we got it more centered, or more off center. And put in a new bit because I chewed that one up, or a new insert. Now it should fit. Back it up, put a drill bit in, drill our size. Well, yeah, it started wobbling, so let's come back and do a center, and then smaller drill, and then larger drill. Okay, larger drill coming up. There we go. All right, we got the plate, we've got the off-centered stub, and we're going to weld everybody together and come up with a vertical. Okay, now we're coming in and drilling that so that that pin goes in, drilling it to size. And that way we have a nice square drill hole. All right, there we go. And it's going to be a nice fit, nice tight fit. We'll put it over in the arbor press, press that baby in, and where it will be set to go. All right, let's get it over to the arbor press. Oh, it looks like we skipped the arbor press part. So now, as you can see, we're just coming in and creating a radius on all 8 pieces. Now I've got coarse sandpaper going there to do the rough in, and we'll come back later and do a final kind of a cleanup with much finer paper. But for now, this is working pretty good. It's given us what we want. We just go right up against that paper and just start whittling away at it. Now, other than the piece getting hot, it seems to be working fairly well, as you can see. We'll do the other side, and then we got about, oh, who knows how many more to do. Okay, I used that other sheet up until it was pretty much just wiped out. And now I'm putting a piece of finer paper in and just coming in and squaring it up. And what I'm doing is making sure that the that one flat part under the clamp is square against the plate, because the plate is square. And it seems to be working out pretty well. Just going in and bringing everything back to a consistent, in a sense, a brush effect. And it's just a little bit on the top, back and forth, flip it over. There's the flip. One last little run across just to make sure we got it good and clean, and we are pretty well done. And as you can see, we're over on the little mini drill press that I have set up at high speeds, and I've put a little sanding disc in there, or actually a little sanding barrel, and a little jeweler's sanding barrel, and I'm just going to go in and kind of sand those surfaces that I want to look pretty nice, and they again will leave a nice brushed surface. And in a second I think I'm going to show that to you, but I can't be certain. Now I come down below, or drop the table down so I can get to it, and now I'm just kind of going around the perimeters and deburring everything, and this little sander works great to do that. It just it deburrs without making a mess. Okay, now we're at ZEP 45, and notice that hole right there. Well, I've had this can for probably 10 years now, and at some point a bear got into my shop and bit a hole in that can, and now it must have been a hell of a surprise to him, because there was ZEP 45 everywhere. And but when he dropped the can, it landed on its feet, and it was fine, and it was full. Well, just no pressure. So got most of them done. A couple more minutes, everybody's going to be finished. Put them in bags, ship them off to the customer. And this was a fun project, although it took almost a month. So hey, this is Nick Collier checking out.